Okay, so the first book review is The Last Stand of the Tin Can Soldiers by James D. Hornfisher. So basically, it's about the last stand of the U.S. Navy and the Japanese Navy during World War II. So it's a true story, and I was unable to read the whole book. I got to about page 86. There was just too many names for me to keep up with like between the boats and the people, and he was still introducing new people because it is a true story and there's so many different people from different backgrounds, and it just got very, very confusing. But so for the first time, the U.S. Navy has an Air Force branch. So basically, you've got these big carrier ships that airplanes are launched out of and from the middle of the ocean. So it's considered part of the Navy most likely because it's like so different from land-based Air Force. So there's that, and yeah. So where I was at, once again, the author was still setting up characters and stories and setting and everything, so I didn't quite get all the way through. It's like 400 pages. Okay, so fun facts. So there's a lot of people named like John or Jack, so that's super confusing. But most of them, they use because they're in the military, they use their last name, so that helped a little bit. But still, it's a lot of names to keep up with. Test pilots for the aircraft carriers, before they were fully developed, they often had like a flattened facial features because they had to slam into the windshield and or the instrument board so many times. So I thought that was interesting. And then the Navy pilots in general were like seen as lesser than their seabred co-workers. I don't know exactly why. Maybe because they weren't like good enough, because they weren't trained to be on the sea or something. But I mean, it's still very, very difficult, so it doesn't really make sense to me. But and then each ship had its own like nickname because apparently the christened name wasn't good enough for them. So if like the Fanshawe Bay was like called the Fanny B, and it used that in the book, like it wasn't just sailors talking to each other. And then there was this this Samuel B. Roberts, which was called the Sammy B. Maybe they have a thing for like Sammy and the B, I don't know. And then many of like the ship's builders, they had to cut corners to like build more ships with less money and like less time. I thought that was interesting. Also, like if you changed a boat's name after it was like christened as whatever it was like seen as like bad luck, and they were all like kind of like superstitious about it. It was gonna happen one time. Might have been the Fanny Bee, I can't remember. But they did it so that all the ships' names are matched because there was like the states and they all had the certain like topic that they were named after. But it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's very dry because it is a nonfiction work. But if you're interested in World War II, I mean, you'd probably really enjoy it. Especially once you get into it more, because I know I'm still in the introduction phases of it. But I'm sure once you got to the battle, it'd be like super interesting. I know my grandpa loved it, but he was in the military, so maybe it has something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it would be a good book. I just struggled with it. I read it. It took me 3 weeks to get through 86 pages. In comparison, I think I read like a 200-ish page book in like 2 days. So yeah, just wasn't very interesting to me personally. But, I mean, it's well written. It's pretty formal, though. There isn't much dialogue where I'm at right now. But, yeah, and it's really interesting because there's, like, a few stories of, different, like, people that are in the book, so pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a good book, just long, very long. And, yeah, so if you like long books and are interested in World War I and war history, I mean, this is the book for you. If not, then maybe try to find something a little bit shorter, maybe a historical fiction about World War II, because that's like my favorite, like The Book Thief. Oh my gosh, I know so many people hate that book, but it's so good. Or, Unbroken, that's nonfiction, but it's still a really good book. It's about Louis something or another. Oh, Louis Vampirini, I think. Yeah, something like that. Haven't read it in a while. I think I read it in like 8th grade. It was really good. I'm trying to think. I read so many historical fiction books, but yeah, this one is nonfiction and it's a little rough. But yeah, if you want to read the book, go right ahead. But just be warned, you're gonna have a tough time at the beginning, but I think it'll pick up towards the end because that's usually how these type of books work. They reach their climax of the battle or whatever, and then they go right along. But yeah, it wasn't the book for me. Somebody out there will love it though.